Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the 18th meeting of the 61st session of the Commission is called to order. This morning, we will continue consideration of Agenda Item 8 entitled the question of the violation of human rights in the occupied Arab territories, including Palestine.
I now give the floor to the representative of UN Watch.
From the Cedar Mountains of Lebanon, we hear freedom's ring. When 1 million citizens courageously gather in Beirut, defying the Syrian occupation, to speak for the right of the Lebanese people to freedom, self-determination, and sovereignty, we hear freedom's ring. When the image and message of the Cedar Revolution reaches around the world, and most importantly to audiences within the region, we hear freedom's ring. This ring inspires the world with the faith that Lebanon's past glory can become the reality once again. It inspires the world with hope that the people of the Middle East will no longer permit their countries to remain unmoved by the spread of freedom and democracy in our time. Kifaya, enough, as the New Democracy activists in Egypt say. And most concretely, the Cedar Revolution has inspired the nations of the world to join in one voice, telling Syria to end the 30 years of occupation, respect international law, and implement Security Council Resolution 1559. Today, those who stand for freedom in Lebanon are empowered by the knowledge that they are not alone. Today, they stand mighty and free, like the cedars. Today, they know the world stands with them. Mr. Chairman, the sad truth is that until quite recently, the Lebanese people knew the opposite. They knew, for example, that even as Syrian military and intelligence occupation forces perpetrated one gross human rights violation after another, this commission remained silent to Syrian crimes, indifferent to Lebanese suffering. Indeed, last year, when UN Watch spoke for Lebanese freedom in this plenary, it was a lone voice. Today, we again recall the suffering imposed by the Syrian occupation, the human rights violations that cry out for condemnation by the Commission and its special procedures, the suffering of hundreds of Lebanese civilians believed to have been killed or, quote, disappeared, close quote, by Syrian occupation forces, the suffering of Samir Jaja and Jarjish Agougi, who were subjected to an unfair trial in violation of Articles 9, 3, and 26 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, followed by 10 years of solitary confinement in degrading conditions and torture. The suffering of Dr. Mohammed Mughrabi, persecuted for challenging judicial corruption in Syrian-occupied Lebanon, and for inquiring into the, quote, disappearances, close quote, of 2 Lebanese transferred to Syrian custody in 1997. On February 26th of this year, Dr. Mughrabi was unlawfully detained by Sharatai General, interrogated on charges of, quote, assaulting the standing of the state, close quote, and doing, quote, bad things to the military establishment, end quote. In the words of Lebanon's Habib Sadiq, head of the Democratic Forum, the Syrian and Lebanese intelligence services transferred Lebanon into a, quote, police state, close quote. To condemn these violations, UN Watch today submitted a draft resolution to this commission at document number E/CN.4/205/NGO/308. Freedom has momentum. If Damascus abides by Resolution 1559 and surrenders its police state in Lebanon, the winds of freedom will carry into Syria itself, bringing an end to emergency rule imposed since 1963, 42 years ago, harassment and imprisonment of human rights defenders in violation of Article 25 of the Syrian Constitution, repression of free expression, association, and assembly in violation of Articles 38 and 39 of the Syrian Constitution, discrimination against minority Kurds in violations of Articles 25 and 26 of the Syrian Constitution, legal and social discrimination against women, where victims of rape or domestic violence have little means for redress, in violation of Article 45 of the Syrian Constitution. Provision of support and safe haven to entities and persons who finance, plan, support, or commit terrorist acts in violation of Security Council Resolution 1373. Mr. Chairman, Lebanese freedom under 1559 also requires the government of Iran to withdraw its Revolutionary Guards who illegally occupy Lebanon. Their units operate openly in the Baqa Valley and along the southern border. Similarly, 1559 requires the full disarming of Hezbollah, funded and armed by Iran in violation of Resolution 1373. Hezbollah cannot claim to be for Lebanon when it supports foreign occupation, nor can it claim to be a political party when it possesses some 12,000 missiles. Until Syria, Iran, and their creation, Hezbollah, comply with international law, the people of Lebanon will never see the freedom, peace, stability, sovereignty, and dignity that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, and I now